everybody, thanks so much for tuning in to EduMatch. So tonight we're doing a rewind from 2015. So this episode is To Pay or Not to Pay. Check it out.
It's EduMatch. EduMatch. It's EduMatch. You're at EduMatch. EduMatch. Don't miss EduMatch. Don't miss EduMatch. You're at EduMatch. EduMatch. Don't miss EduMatch. Don't miss EduMatch.
Hey everybody, welcome to Tweet and Talk number 14. Please follow along with us on Google Hangouts. If you are watching this video, then you already know about that. You're already hip. But also follow along with us on our Twitter hashtag EduMatch. Speaking of EduMatch, and check us out on the web, edumatch.education, where you can sign up to be the featured person of the day and be connected with other educators along similar lines of interest. Now, tonight's topic is a great one. It's a friendly debate that we're going to have whether or not educational resources should be paid. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to our moderator, Rafronz Davis.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to have this conversation, especially since we're in the business. I'm actually in my role. I get to approve or deny whether or not we get to buy apps or not buy apps or whatever resources that we're using in our school district. And I have my own opinions on it, which I'm going to save for later. But it's super excited to have the panelists that we have on board. Sarah, did you do all the introductions?
No, I did not. But if you wanted to have everyone introduce themselves, that would be awesome.
Yes, go ahead. Everyone introduce yourself, starting with it's Angelina.
Hi, I'm Anjanette.
Anjanette, I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's okay. My name is Anjanette. I am employed with the School Board of Broward County, which is the Fort Lauderdale area. I'm also an adjunct college professor at the University of Fort Lauderdale. So I'm real excited to be a part of this group. Thank you for inviting me.
Next, I know Alice Keeler. Go ahead and, Alice, give us a little bit of background, even though everybody on the internet knows who you are.
Not everyone knows who I am. So I'm Alice. I live in California. I'm at California State Fresno with my 3D printer trying to melt plastic today. And I taught math for 14 years, and now I teach teachers.
Awesome. And, of course, we have Sarah and myself. So I guess I'll start with the first question. To free or not free? That's the question. Just to kind of get us started in this, what are your thoughts, Alice?
Free is free like a puppy sometimes. I mean, there's always a cost. And so why is somebody giving you something for free? There's not that much altruism in the world that people are really just giving you something for nothing. There's some sort of advertising. So I think that we want to be careful about that. And the other part is that somebody put a lot of effort and time into making it. If you want high quality products for your students, expecting them to be free, I think is unrealistic.
Sarah, I'm tossing it to you now.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying with that, Alice, in terms of people putting a lot of time and resources into it. For me, then, I kind of tend to prefer using free things just because we, as educators, we're using them to help our students grow. And I feel like, if everything were to go paid, then that would just that would be very, very hard to pull off. So I tend to look for the freer things, the freer, if that's a word. But I see that Stefan on Twitter was talking about open educational resources, and I just wanted to go ahead and mention that as well, something I just found out about not too long ago. And there are just so many great things. So I think that when we create and we share, then it's kind of like helping each other out, scratching each other's backs.
Anjanette?
Free. That's a word that I'm learning how to take advantage of. I've been paying for everything, and I'm getting to the point where it's starting to hit my personal pocket. So I am looking now for the free resources. Currently, I'm in Broward County Schools as a Digital 5 teacher, which means our total instruction is online, and my students have laptops. I was paying for a lot of different services, and then just recently with getting trained for this, finally I'm tapping into a lot of free resources. So I'm definitely an advocate for free. At the university level, I believe there should be reduced costs. It shouldn't be costing students an arm and a leg to get resources that I need for introduction to computers. But overall, I'm an advocate.
I can definitely see that, and I know Don just joined the conversation, but I want to tag on to something because I think that we're tapping into a new layer. Well, I think a different layer. Teachers being responsible for covering their own content is one thing. Open educational resources are absolutely something we should take advantage of, especially when they're primary resources free and available on the web for our students to access. But school districts may be having a choice between implementing something that has a freemium model, which means kind of free now, but then there's a back end that you have to pay for later, or free to a point with an expectation that maybe parents pick up the bill, and maybe that information is not communicated up front, are completely different ideas, I think. I think, in my opinion, I know in my job I have to make those decisions, and they're not always the best and easy decisions. So when it comes to between taking the free version of a product or upgrading to pay for something, what goes into your mind as to what would you advocate to your districts as to whether or not you need it? What would it take for you to decide, you know what, we really need to look at what the paid model of whatever this piece of software is versus the free model?
For the paid resources, then I don't have an issue with districts necessarily paying for things, because a lot of times it's in that budget, and it's there and it's meant to be allocated for for student use. So I would say that my whole level of discomfort would probably come from going straight to teachers' pocketbooks, as opposed to the district paying for something that that they receive tax dollars from, because as teachers, we don't get paid a whole lot of money. So that's why I tend to be a fan of things that are free and that we create for ourselves and we create for our students, and we just spread the love. We just share it that way.
Alice, you talked earlier about the additional cost. There's always some payoff along the way for something that is free. Can you give some other examples of that other than just, the obvious ad on the back end? What other things should teachers be looking for before they immediately adopt something that is free versus looking for maybe a better product that could possibly be paid?
I think that just looking at the overall design and usability, obviously that impacts how much time students have to spend in class, and cost of time to learn something and cost of time just to manage it. Like if I have to dig through a bunch of extra clicks and things, and it takes more instructional minutes are so valuable. But then also there's this cost of where it's suggestive sells to kids, and there is a pressure maybe to parents that they should be paying for stuff. And I know my kids don't always give me, I have 5 kids, so they don't always
wow.
give the straight story. They're like, Mom, I have to have this. I'm like, you have to have what? And I call the school, and they're like, no, they don't have to have that. And that's usually the way it goes down. So it doesn't necessarily communicate so well back to home. So kids using an app that's freemium, where it's asking them to upgrade and they don't understand, then people start to think that they need to, and it puts a burden on parents.
That's a good point. What about data? When do we talk about ownership of whatever this product is that we're using? I'll give an example. There's a product out there. Well, I won't give the name of the product. How's that? There's several products that are created where students are uploading their content to it, and it's free for teachers, and they can use it all the time. But at the end of the day, the platform itself still maintains ownership of that student content. Should we be considering that? And if so, why not?
I think we have to be considering that, because I have learned that when you use a platform for your data, that whatever happens to that platform will ultimately control your data. So that is the first thing. So then it becomes incumbent upon me to look for platforms that I really think are going to be there, that are going to be reliable for my students, and to kind of go with what Sarah said. I think it's not my job to pay for things for my job. At no other job do you do this, and so asking teachers to pay for the apps when there's a lot of things. I mean, highly specialized apps might be one thing, but then the district should pay for that. But there's so many things that I use out there that are free and that are industry standard. Anything from like a Slack or an Asana, or for goodness sake, Google. I was just hurrying and posting things on Google Classroom, but there's so much I can dig into that is free and is socially acceptable, the standard. So that is one thing, but data is a concern, and that's part of how we have to continue to teach digital citizenship, that this is out there. We need to put responsible things out there, well-researched, appropriate. So.
Oh, that's a great one. And Jeanette, this question's for you. How do you find platforms that you might want to use in your class? Then, and then how do you compare whether or not they are worth the cost, whether it be free or paid?
Good question. I do a lot of research, believe it or not, on Twitter, Google Plus, Edmodo, and I kind of do my own research, test it out, bring it to my administrator, say, hey, look, I want to, possibly try this. And if I see to go to the upgrade, it's going to cost, I have to bring it before it's called School Advisory Council, which is internal. Sometimes they approve it, sometimes they don't. And so then I have to look at my personal budget, which now I've just made the decision I'm not going to come out of my personal budget. If I can't do it, I just can't do it. Where I teach at, a lot of the parents, if they find out it's something for their class, for our class, and they want to upgrade, they will actually do the donors website and fund it for me. So that's one of the ways I'm able to get some of the stuff done. In other cases, we have to have school fundraisers. There's a math program we're using right now, and literally almost 250 fifth graders were using this particular piece of software at $3 a student. So we have to come up with creative ways to fund it, not just for my class, but 11 other fifth grade teachers. So there's a lot that I process. I'll test it out, do the 30 days, bring it to the SAC committee, bring it to the PTA, bring it to whoever will listen.
That's a lot of hoops that you are having to cross to get
Yes.
to get what the software that you need for your students in class. So I'm wondering, when we're making those decisions, let's say we choose to use something that is free right now, and let's say eventually, and let's just put it out there, not everything stays free forever. Eventually,
Nope.
they have to make money. So at which point in time how much time do we invest in the free programs that we use before we start to ask those questions about, all right, we have our whole district on board. When is this going to start costing me per student? How much is this going to cost me? And then how do you decide whether or not to move forward? Do you decide whether or not to move forward? I guess that's a better question. I know in my district, our teachers wouldn't. They would make recommendations, and then ultimately it would come up to our leadership team and our teachers, whoever are giving the input on that, I should say, as to whether or not we move forward, as well as cost. What does that look like in your districts? Sarah?
All right, that is a fantastic question. I would say I would definitely get as much use out of the free model as possible, like ride that sucker till the wheels fall off. And if I see that there is some kind of benefit in upgrading, then at that point I would do it. There have been products that I've upgraded to the paid version before, but it's had to really have some kind of draw for me, something that I wasn't getting in the free version that would make my life easier, and my students' lives easier. Most importantly, my students' lives easier. So I guess that would kind of be what would come into play for me the most. It would definitely have to be something that would be worth it, in terms of helping my students learn the content better or helping them learn better.
You know, I will tell you that in our district, we're using Google Apps, which are free. But honestly, Google Apps are free to a point because you have Google Apps, but then you have all of the management pieces that you have to pay for to make sure that they're running efficiently in your district. And yes, there's tons of scripts, but if you don't have the skill set of the people in your district that know how to organize those pieces, then you have to reach out and maybe help to find someone else to pay to help make sure that that system works correctly. Are y'all encountering anything like that in your district with pieces that were once free, but you're still having to invest additional funding in order to have them run efficiently? Or are we the only ones that this is happening to?
This has definitely happened to me. Trying not to use the company, but they do a reading and math and science program. We got 90 days free. My elementary school has 1,300 students, and so we had to, it was great. It was beneficial. We saw learning gains, and then the software time was running out. And we had to petition the district, okay, you might want to consider funding us. And our district has 270,000 students. So we had to petition school board members, the reading, science, STEM, just to see if we could get funding. And fortunately we did. Fortunately, they made it a district initiative once we were like the guinea pig of sorts, but it was a lot through the last, I would say, 18 months after to really get it re-implemented in our district.
See, that's another consideration that we have to do. Like, you can't just budget for free. You have to budget for the things that you have to pay for the free things you're using. And that typically does happen. I know that we're running out of time because Sarah told me this was only supposed to be 15 minutes. I think she at least heard that part. But I did want to get in one question that came over from Twitter that I retweeted it. It said, how about in-app purchases? What are responsibilities to students and parents? That's a very good question. Alice, you want to take this one?
If I can find the mute button. I think that's something to be really careful about because as I mentioned before, I think that there is a pressure by kids and parents who don't really understand that you're not asking them to pay money. And so no matter how many times you communicate that with kids, that they don't need to spend any money and they don't need to upgrade it, kids are kids. Actually, adults are not much better. So, I don't know how I feel about that because I do use free resources and I understand the price of free is not free. And so that is me having to communicate as clearly as I can with parents through my newsletter and to the kids. You guys don't have to buy this. But you got to make sure that, some of the kids do have money on their iTunes accounts and they might accidentally purchase something. And then what are you going to do? Are you on the hook for that?
Ooh. Those are tough ones. Hey, Dawn, what are your thoughts on that? How do you deal with in-app purchases?
I'm actually not using anything that has an in-app purchase to my knowledge, but I do recognize that pretty much most of the trend is mobile. So I'm looking for apps that have mobile, some mobile platforms too and native apps. So that could come up. I'm dealing with high school kids, so I will tell you, don't spend money on this, do not upgrade, and then if you do, then you should listen to my instructions a little bit more. One example of that is not in-app purchases, but Evernote. I've set them up with Evernote if they like. They can have the good old notebook, or they can choose to do their notes electronically. They don't really need to upgrade. I have upgraded so I can share things, but if they want to, they can, and I explain that so they understand the purchasing decision, and I tell them they don't need to.
Oh, wow. That's a great thought. All right. Any closing ideas? We're like way over time, but this has been such a great conversation, and I appreciate it having.
Well, yeah, we really need to get people on board. There's so much technology out there that isn't being utilized and is a district purchase that's in the tech graveyard, that maybe if everybody who is using these things had a chance and more of a say in the process, somebody could reallocate that, because the entrepreneurs should have some money too. They made this stuff for us.
I agree. I've actually told one that we're using a very free product, but they're about to upgrade to give some more district oversight, that it was apparently going to be free, and it might still be free, but I've said, you know what, this is something that I would definitely pay for. And I know that you guys are all completely free to the bone on everything right now, but you really need to consider some of these pieces that you're laying out because districts should pay for it. And I think that it's okay to say that. That's why there's money there. That's why we have those resources to do. And I would much rather pay for something that's going to benefit us in the long run than deal with something that's kind of sort of free, but then maybe not, that is not really helping us to communicate more efficiently. Any final thoughts for you, Anjanette?
I'm listening to what you're saying, and with that part, I guess that's why school board sees a lot of me, because some things I believe they should pay for, and it doesn't just benefit my school; it benefits our very diverse district. We have over 102 countries, over 100 languages, and some of the software that I'm asking them to purchase will benefit all students.
That is, I think every district should have, the teachers should be empowered to know they have a voice to advocate in that way. I hope your students feel that they can advocate for themselves in that way, because that's what's going to help us make better decisions when we have people that will say the things that you are saying. Sarah, your final word, and then we're done.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone on the panel. France, thank you for moderating. Awesome job, and thank you to everyone. You all gave such a rich discussion tonight. Thank you to everybody who was following along with us on Google Hangouts as well as on Twitter with the hashtag. So, just wanted to let you all know that the Twitter chat will be storified, and the Google Hangout, we will strip the audio and put it as an iTunes podcast. Be sure to come back next week. We're going to be talking classroom management strategies, so you can find that at bit.ly/tweettalk15. One more time, bit.ly/tweettalk15. And there you can sign up, and you can say that you want to be a panelist if you're interested in doing so, or you can watch us when we get together at 6 p.m. next week. So definitely, if you're interested in the podcast, just check us out at bit.ly/EduMatch podcast. So once again, I'd just love to thank everyone who is on panel, everyone who is watching. Thank you all so much, and have a fantastic evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's EduMatch. EduMatch. It's EduMatch. You're at EduMatch.